every child thinks about what to do when they grow up. And every child changes their mind about 100 times. I admit that I changed my mind frequently until I started high school. I want to be everything from a princess to a police officer. But in high school, I decided that one day I would be a teacher. Everyone has to make hundreds, if not thousands, of decisions a day. But how do you know if you're making the right decisions? The simple answer is, you can't name it for sure until you see the result of those decisions. People often say that they find it hard to make decisions. Unfortunately, we all have to make decisions all the time, ranging from the easy one like what to have for lunch or what to wear, right up to life-changing decisions like where and what to study or whether or not to marry and start a family. Some people put off making decisions by endlessly searching for more information or getting other people to offer their recommendations. Others resort to decision making by taking a vote, sticking a pin in a list, or tossing a coin. Regardless of how important a decision is, good decision skills are useful in life, especially if you feel indecisive about something and it's getting you down. Today, let us get tips on how to make good decisions and find out what to do when you can't figure out a plan. Good day, grade 8 students! Welcome to Bamboo Telescuela. This is your School on Air on Health Education 8. It's a pleasure to be with you at this time of the day. I am Teacher Gladys Elgiwa Agnes, a junior high school teacher at Cauayan City National High School Main Campus. Make sure to grab your module with you and tune in to DWND-FM, DWDYAM, CMD Cablevision, and you can also watch us streaming live at STO Cauayan City Facebook page. Please take note of our learning objectives in this lesson. First, define decision making. Second, identify the 6 steps of decision making in managing sexually related issues. And third, conduct interview on how to manage sexually related issues. After going through this module, you are expected to apply decision-making skills in managing sexually related issues. So please listen carefully and be mindful of the topics that we are going to discuss. In the previous module, you have already identified different issues and concerns of teenagers like you. You also have understood the need for support of the family. Now, it's time to address those issues and concerns with the right mindset. As teenagers, you may have difficulty weighing your options. But you see, making decisions is an integral part of being a human. You are all learning the skill ever since you are little kids. Deciding whether to choose chocolate or vegetable, play Mobile Legends or study your lesson. As you grow older, the decisions that you make become more complicated. Let us test your first decision-making skill on the next activity. Let us take a look at this picture, the 6 thinking hats. And while at it, you can choose what best suits your personality. The white hat. Look at the situation objectively. What are the facts? Where are the gaps? What hasn't worked for me in the past? The yellow hat. Look at the situation positively. Which solutions will work? What is the best case scenario? What are the benefits of each option? The red hat. Look at the situation emotionally. How do you feel about the situation? What does your intuition tell you? How do you feel about the options available? The green hat. Look at the situation creatively. What are some alternative ideas? If success was guaranteed, what bold steps would I take? The black hat. Look at the situation negatively. Which solutions won't work? What is the worst case scenario? What risks do each option bring? The blue hat. Look at the situation broadly. What is the best overall solution? What benefits do each hat bring? What are the limitations of each hat? Upon hearing the color representation of each hat, you may reflect. Which hat do you wear most frequently? Which hat do you wear the least? Feeling stuck? Try putting on your least preferred hat. Large decision? Put each one at a time. Just like choosing a particular hat that best describes your personality, you may also come to a point in which you make necessary decisions and choices for a better situation, for a better life. To understand what I am saying, please watch this video.
So I came to this strange world hoping I could learn a bit about how to give and take. But since I came here, felt the joy and the fear, finding myself making every possible mistake. La 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 la. Strange world, hoping I could learn a bit about what is true and fake. But why all this hate? Try to communicate. Finding trust and love is not always easy to make. La 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 la. This is a happy end, 'cause you don't understand everything you have done. Why is everything so wrong? This is a happy end. Come and give me your hand, I'll take you far away. I'm a new soul, I came to this strange world hoping I could learn a bit about how to give and take.
As regards to decision making, various internet sources estimate that an adult makes about 35,000 remotely conscious decisions each day. In contrast, a child makes about 3,000. This number may sound odd, but in fact, we make 226 decisions each day on just food alone, according to researchers. As your level of responsibility increases, so does the array of choices you are faced with. The decisions you make related to your sexual behaviors will affect yourself and others now or in later life. These sexual behaviors may be toward yourself, your family, your friends, or other people. Thus, what you choose to do and how you behave should be guided by family, social and spiritual standards, and should be based on decision-making steps and procedures. At this stage in your life, can you honestly say that you make your own decision? Let us try once more if you are the one who decides on the following. What to wear to school? Whom to invite home? What to wear on weekends? To own a pet or not? How to spend your allowance? To do chores or not? What to eat for breakfast? What time to come home after school? When to go to bed on school nights? Or what time to come home in the evening? Those mentioned were just some of the decisions that you act upon every day. You have been given a free will and a multitude of choices in life, and each choice carries certain consequences, good or bad. Choosing a career is also one of the crucial stages that involves careful planning and decision making. If you are to decide which career would you take, what would it be and why? You may want to be a doctor, engineer, nurse, lawyer, architect, policeman, or even a teacher like me. Whatever you choose in the future, you have today to make it work. Having said that, how are we going to define decision making? In its simplest sense, decision making is the act of choosing between two or more courses of action. When we say decision, it is a choice you make or act upon. A good decision is a decision in which you have carefully considered the outcome of each choice. Taking personal responsibility is to accept how your decision may affect you and other people. Decision-making skills will help you make decisions based on your need and desire. At the same time, it helps you to resist peer pressure. I know that teenagers can be some of the best and hardest years in a person's life. During this stage of life, you are often faced with difficult situations and struggle to make healthy and safe choices. Why good decision making helps? People make decisions all throughout their day, most of which are straightforward and don't require much thought. However, when situations are more complicated and have longer-term impacts, it's easy to feel unsure or hesitant. When faced with a tough decision, it's common to feel overwhelmed, stressed or anxious, wound up, pressured, confused, distracted, and tired. Because indecision can have a negative impact on how you're feeling, it's important to learn strategies for making positive decisions in tough situations. While you may not be able to guarantee the outcome of a decision before you make it, at least you can know you put a lot of careful thought into it. If there's a lot going on in your life and you ask yourself, what can I do now? You may want to do the following. Pray, talk to God. Work on your problem-solving skills. Talk to someone you trust about your situation and see if they have any insights to offer. And lastly, learn about building good coping skills. It can be challenging and even scary to protect you from potentially harmful situations. There are some basic skills to follow, however, to assist you in the decision-making process. These skills must be practiced and exercised in resolving issues and concerns about sexuality. Let us proceed in discussing the sixth stage of decision-making that can help you make better informed decisions. This process uses the acronym DECIDE to walk us through the stage. Turn your module on page 7. The first stage of the decision-making process is determine the problem. You need to identify causes of your problem. What's going on? What is your dilemma? Write it down so you are clear on what you are trying to resolve. What is the problem to be solved? For example, to have a part-time job or to focus on school. Why do you need to solve this issue? For example, what are your priorities? These steps give you an idea on how important this decision is. The second stage is to explore the alternatives. Brainstorm as many choices and alternatives as possible. Come up with ideas and choices you can choose from. For example, work 5 or 10 or 20 hours per week. Do not work. Work in summertime only and others. The third stage is consider the consequences. This step can be just as important as step 1 because it will help you determine how your final decision will impact yourself and or others involved. What are the consequences, good and bad, of each choice? When we say consequences, it is a result or effect of an action or condition. You will be asking yourself, what is likely to be the results of my decision? How will it affect me now? And how will it affect my future? So, determine the pros and cons of each possible choices listed in step 2. You may also write this down in a table so you have all the data right in front of you. This is an essential step because it allows you to review the pros and cons of the different options that you listed in the previous step. It is also important because you want to feel comfortable with all your options and the possible outcome of whichever one you choose. The fourth stage is identify your values. When your values are clear to you, making decisions become easier. Values means it is the regard that something ought to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. What is important to you? List your values. For example, honesty, good grades, money, independence, etc. What conditions do you want your choice to reflect? For example, your family's opinion. The fifth stage is decide. This is the time that you will come to a resolution in the mind as a result of consideration. Implement decision for a specified period of time. Decide on the best choice for you. This is much easier after you go through the mentioned steps. Rate your options if you have to. Rank order based on your research. Take a few days to think about it if you need to, and then come back to your dilemma. You can also ask yourself, does it feel right? And does this decision work best for me now and in the future? When you answer those questions back, you should feel good about the result. Last but not the least, evaluate. Once you have made your final decision and put it into action, it is necessary to evaluate the decision and steps you have taken to ensure that it works. These final steps is probably just as important as step 1, if not more important, because it will help you to further develop your decision-making skills for future problems. This step is also fundamental because it may require you to seek out new information and make some changes along the way. Remember, this step requires some patience and it also encourages perseverance. Why? Because it may take some time to see the final outcome. Recognizing that if the first decision is not working, you may have to go back to step 2 and choose another option. At this juncture, it is your turn to apply the 6 steps in decision making by using the letters decide in the given situation. The scenario is, during PE time at the gymnasium, you went back to your classroom to get something. You notice that there is someone in the room. You stop by and peek in out of curiosity. Just as you do, you see one of your best friends reach into another person's bag and take something out of it. As you go through the activity, be mindful of the decision-making stage that we have discussed earlier. Now, let us start placing the possible response for each letter. While on it, you may also compare your answer. First, we need to determine the problem. So the problem in the situation is, you caught your best friend stealing something from someone else's bag. Do you have the same answer? Moving on. Next is, explore the alternatives. In the situation mentioned, you can either quickly move past the door before you are seen or barge into the room to be noticed. Well, these are just two of the choices. Third, consider the consequences. So if you choose to quickly move past the door before you are seen, the consequences will be your best friend will continue to do it because no one corrects him. While if you try to barge in to be noticed, then right there and then, your friend will be corrected of his doing. Whatever you choose, it can either make or break your friendship. The fourth one is, identify your values. The right thing to do is to correct and not to tolerate. True friends are those who dare to let you know your mistakes rather than agreeing with you over the wrong things. Will you do the same? Of course you would. Moving on to the fifth stage, decide. Of course, after thoroughly considering the pros and cons, it is now time to make a choice. So be courageous and talk to your friend and discuss the consequences of his action. By doing that, he will be enlightened on his action. Do you agree on that? For the last stage, evaluate your decision. Deciding to talk to your friend right away and correcting him right there and then is a manifestation of a responsible and good decision. Therefore, you just made the right decision. So there you have the 6 stages in decision making. I hope this will serve as your guide whenever you are faced with so many choices. Always weigh your options and act on the best one. With that said, I challenge you to make use of the decision-making model in the coming days because by following it, you will be able to make the best possible decision out of it. For your assignment, look at these 2 situations. Situation 1. You hear a woman screaming in the parking lot in an unsafe neighborhood. Do you try to go out and help her? Situation 2. You are waiting at a red light at 4 a.m. There isn't a car in sight. Do you run the light? Your task is to interview or talk to 3 of your friends about their responses on the discussion prompt. So, what would you do? Reflect and apply the 6 stages of decision making. Take note, this can be done virtually. That ends our lesson. I hope you have learned and enjoyed a lot today. If you have questions and concerns, feel free to message your Mapeh teacher. To parents, as your child gets older, parenting becomes less about control and more about offering guidance. As Ann Lander said, it is not what you do for your children, but what you have taught them to do for themselves that will make them successful human beings. And for you, dear learners, always remember that small choices become action. Actions become habits, and habits become our way of life. By choosing, we learn to be responsible. By paying the price of our choices, we learn to make better decisions. So, in all things in life, choose your conscience and trust your instincts, and lead your life without regrets. This has been Teacher Glad of Bamboo Telescuela. Stay safe and healthy. God bless.